How to draw cartoons with John-Marc.
All right, here we go with the lesson. Feel free to use your imagination and your creativity and even your style when watching this lesson. As you can see, I am just quickly just sketching out the structure of the tree. And as you can see here, just let your creativity go. Don't be try to super focus. It's a tree, so you have branches, the leaves that are going to be here, some overlapping, some skinny branches, some thick ones, So when you're working on trees, I love working on trees. As you've seen many of my videos, they're very fun and creative. One thing I love doing is going outside and just looking at them and seeing how they actually are formed and everything. And I kind of take like a mental note on that. Sometimes I'll have a sketch pad and I'll just take like quick little notes and rendering right there and just put it together. So in this case, this is just coming out of my imagination, nothing in front of me or whatsoever. And I just like these little gnarly roots that are popping up, kind of like almost like their fingers. And they're just coming up and going into the ground. I'll have like little rocks, grass. I used to have like little mushrooms and flowers, bird houses, flower pots on them. Been doing these for over 40 years, and they're just really fun. I love doing trees. All right, so here what I'm just doing here is just like shading in the background a little bit just to give that distance. So the one on the far right is behind the tree, and the one on the left here is in the foreground. And I'm just using my thoughts. And yeah, let's get some shadowing going down here right now too. And when I do the pencil, sometimes for the tree, you don't have to be perfectly straight. Like you can kind of wiggle it left and right, show some veins and some roots that are kind of like knot looking. What I mean by knots are just like, if you see the old fashioned rope that have the knots, they have that skinny line and they have a lot of pattern in there. Like right here, that's like a little bump here and there because that might have been like a branch that broke off there. And there's a little more shading here. Likewise here, I'm just going to randomly do my little speed lines. A little over here. Let's get some, a little bit more over that. That's better. I like that. So what do you think when you're drawing a tree? Okay, what inspires you to do these backgrounds and mountains and rocks and shrubs and bushes? Well, for me, it's because I do a lot of kids books. I love doing that, and also video games, and you're building backgrounds. So just playing around with it constantly gives you more variety and a little referencing that you can go back and forth. Reminds me of my childhood making tree forts and tree houses in the trees. There we go, a little shading. Yeah, we had a couple in our neighborhood and even had one in my backyard. All right, little rocks. Put little rocks randomly, little small ones, big ones. Yeah, and there we go. Yep, yep, yep. Looking good, looking good. Little one over on this side. I make my rocks a little round, I know. A little oval, smooth. They're kind of almost uh like the typical rocks you might find in a riverbed. Little grass blades here and there, randomly, front and back, overlapping, crisscrossing. Try to break down any type of patterns that might be in there, yeah. Or rates. But now how are we going to do like the for the actual tree itself? So I'm just going to keep this little simple, smooth, not too many leaves on there, just randomly, kind of like as if it was like hair, just a little overlapping here and there, and smooth for the rest of the part. And I'm just going to shade in that little area right here. Here we go. So that's kind of like indicating like it's curving down, bending down. Yeah, it'll put a few up on the top there. Let's create another one randomly right on the top, like it's pulling through the top there. There we go. That looks good. And same thing. I'm just going to give a little shadowing on there. This one here a little bit more as well. Yep. Very simple. This lesson is nothing hard, but the thing that I want you to really practice with is maybe do this lesson and do it like 2 or 3 times, but change the actual structure of the tree and the foliage. If it has no leaves, if it's wintertime, or change the style of the branches, skinny, broken down, be really creative with that whole part there. And let's create another one right here too. Smaller one branch sticking on the top, working all the way around. And as always, I make sure that you date these and always, always, always keep your artwork. Don't throw it away. You can see how well you're getting as an artist and growing. And you might even could use it as a reference for future projects and everything. Yep. This one looks very simple. I'm just about done with this one. I'm liking it right now. I'm just going a little bit darker, getting a little bit more pressure. As you start, I go very light, and now I'm just getting a little heavier. Just working our way around, just seeing a little, where can I actually get some more detail here, a little bit more pressure, a little harder on there. Yeah, I could have taken this a little bit more, but you know what? This is just a simple little lesson. I don't want to spend too much time on there, and I want you to use your imagination and do more than one if you have the time. Sketch daily, and you'll grow as an artist. I'm just going to shade that in the back. That's like really in the background there. Let's get that little between the branches there. That's the back part of the tree, so it's like really dark. Get some contrast. Yeah, that looks good. All right. Yep. I think I'm just about done. Maybe a little bit more here. Let's just see. A little. I was thinking like if I had a hole in there where an owl would be. But you know what? I feel good. So let's sign, date, share with your family and friends. Thanks for watching this lesson, and have a great day.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back. And now, back to our show.
All right, let's begin the sketch. And what I'm going to do is two different styles pine trees. And this is just going to be a fun lesson using your imagination, of course, and possibly even your style. So what I'm just doing here first is just giving me a rough form of the shape of the pine tree first. So I'm just trying to key. It's going to be like long and skinny like that. But if you wanted to change it to be a little short and fatter, sometimes it's easier just to build the first shape and then from there just take that little outline and work from there. So I'm starting here on the very top for the leaves of the pines, the pine needles, should I say, not the leaves, the pine needles. I'm making them kind of small on the top. And when I get further down, I'll make them a little bit larger as I go down. And I'm randomly just creating from left and right and just kind of create different patterns throughout the whole movement of the pine needles going all the way down. So when you're watching this lesson, feel free to explore your style and techniques. Definitely, this is something that you can create multiple trees sometimes, like a skinny one, a little baby tree, a taller one that might be broken off from the top and having half of it coming down. That's only being shown. I'm just taking one example of this style, and next to it on the far right will be another one. The same rules will apply to what I'm saying to this one. That'll apply to that one. Using your imagination and following up with different shapes and size of that particular style. So like again, so I would strongly advise when you want to work and create a style and technique, when you master one that you feel comfortable with, do it over and over again. Not the same thing, change it a little bit here. Make it a little bit taller, make it a little bit narrower. Put it in the distance if you want to add some topography around, little rocks, grass, flowers. That's fine, but just practice, practice, practice with that one style, and you'll get sharper and sharper. And once again, something like this, you may want to break out a book on reference or actually go outside and see all these different pine trees, because some pine trees don't look like this particular one. This is like a Douglas fir, should I say, that I'm thinking in my head, where you can see a typical Christmas tree. Some of them are like a long totem pole, or you can actually see the pole all the way through and just have these little skirts, top, middle, 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 on the bottom. But you can still see the actual tree bark throughout the whole way, going all the way to the top. Those are unique. Those are mostly I've seen out west. We have them down in South and North Carolina and Georgia area, where I currently live right now. And here we go. I'm just creating the first step. So what I just did here is kind of just quickly sketched out how they may look. I'm going to come back and do a little shading and getting some darker ones and some one in the back and shading them in darker and just following through this whole technique. So enjoy as I am just sketching away here. And this one's going to be a little bit slower than some of my other lessons. Just going to take a little bit more time on this sketch. Not going to be like trying to knock it out in 5 or 10 minutes. But it'll feel like it. It's still not super slow. All right, so here I'm going a little bit heavier on the shadow. So that's like where the pine needles are on the bark there. Little rocks, grass. I'm going to create like a little shadowy patch underneath. There we go. Randomly grass here and there. Yeah, that's it. A little grass. All right, just trying to give a visual effect. This will be another good lesson to actually take to your Xerox machine, should I say, and Xerox it out and just do some quick coloring. Or if you can scan it in on your computer and print it from there as well. So what I'm doing here now, as you can see, I'm shadowing underneath the little pine needles. So they look like they're little standing up. So before this level where I'm getting all the shadow, you should be scanning that in or taking a picture before you get to this shadowing effect. So if you want to print it out and practice in color, that'll just be a little bit preference. But again, even having the darker area is another way of mastering coloring, because some artists work with the grayscale first and they give like a nice gouache underneath there, and then they'll add the colors on top of that then. And here we're coming on the far right, a little shadow here and there. All right. I'm working underneath there a little bit more. I'm going heavier, as you can see here. I started from the middle, working down a little bit bigger area so you can kind of see what I'm working on. And I'm just coming around the areas. I'm just shading the tree and very lightly in the mid areas. All right, so some of the areas I'm going to leave white, like the highlight is sticking out where the sun would be hitting, and some will be further back, a little shadow, and then you have the deep shadow. There, and then it's a little bit more underneath here. So this one here is more of like a very detailed cartoon, or not perfectly detailed, not realistic, but more detailed for my style, should I say, intentionally, just to show you how you can actually diversify. The next one's going to be much simpler, and I did that intentionally, so you can go from like a real easy one style to a more advanced one. Both are going to be really nice. I have the other one in my head, what I'm going to be doing, but this one here I feel pretty comfortable with. I like how it looks right now. Has a unique flair to it. Even more shadowing here and there. And then, as you can see, I'm using my mechanical pencil because in this case, since I am working with tight detail, my pencil, if I used a 2B, would have been flat really quick, and I would have to take it to a sharpener, which isn't bad, or a sandpaper, and sand it out. But for lessons and doing these video lessons, it's better that I use right now, I thought, my mechanical pencil. But then again, maybe I could have used more of the traditional graphites. All right, let's get working on the top part now here. So the same thing, what I did all the way from the mid down, I'm going to be working on the top part. Now I'm just giving a little bit more detail back over them, maybe changing a shape here and there. You might want to add some pine cones in there if you want to, some pine cones on the ground, or like a bird's nest in there. All right, now a bit more lead. Again, working on the other side here. Give me a second. I'll get out of the way with the view, I know. But I'm just going a little heavier. Everything on the bottom part is what I shared before. So that's why I did the mid to the bottom first, so you can kind of see it. So I'm just like sketching in a little bit lightly in where the tree is. Almost done there. A little shadow here and there. All right, as you can see there. So it's pretty decent right now. I'm just going to create some quick little mountains in the background, lightly put on there. As you notice, I started very lightly in the very beginning, and I got heavier and heavier, but the mountains I'm going to leave light.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back. And now, back to our show.
All right, so here's a more simple style, should I say. Once again, I get the basic cone shape of a pine tree, and I'm just going to go really smooth with these, not so jaggy, more softer, should I say, round edge and longer, and not so many, as not as much detail. But I'm going to do some shading in there as well. So this is kind of like a very simplified version, should I say. All right, and I'm just making, as you can see here, you're going to see rows. Where the other ones, you don't really see the rows are randomly displaced like a typical pine tree could look like. In this case here, there's going to be, this is a top, middle, and here's a third row that I work on. It's a stylized version, of course. And it's just making them short, narrow, skinny, fat, change the whole angle at times. So each row that you do, don't try to mimic the ones above. So you break that that's into it. So it's not like perfect. There we go. Let's start a little bit on the other side. And we get another big one right here, actually going different shape. And a little one right there. There we go. All right, and for the little last one, maybe make a really big one out here. There we go. Just gonna bring it all the way down there. Bringing it home. All right, I got to still work on the stump of the tree trunk in there actually. 1 second, just trying to get this whole stylized. So I'm gonna make this one kind of thick like the other one. Little angle. There's the little background. All right. So as I said before, it's like the shadowing. So now I'm just going to almost mimic the pattern above, the shapes, I should say, above, and just going to be like shadows. So if this was like perfectly smooth tree, there we go. And you can have multiple shadowing, so I could have multiple rings of it, like 2 or 3 of them actually. So I just kind of redraw what was above, and I'm just going to shade that in a little bit heavier with the pencil. There we go. I get the under part there. Maybe that's a little darker on that side. That one's going to be a darker one. So another one here. All right. Straightforward, nothing too hard. This one here is really simple, but again, please use your imagination and change it to your style. Challenge yourself as well as looking outside in a real tree and creating it. Then from there, again, make multiple passes from different sizes and put like a maybe like a whole field of pine trees, similar pine trees, not make them different. But that's like if you're just breaking down your idea. So if you're conceptualizing a new background for a client or for yourself, for a kid's book or for a video game, whatever you have. So you may want to randomly create a whole bunch of them on one page. And then from there, when you feel comfortable with one, then master that one and create a nice model sheet. I'm just going to go a little bit heavier now on there. Get some more detail. Oh, get more of the pencil head. Here we go. So yeah, just what I just went over before, so it stands out a little bit more. I feel it's a little bit too light. Come back on there and just make them a little heavier. The first form. All right, so yep. So I hope you enjoy this lesson and you're learning something by sketching and trying to explore your style and techniques. Watching what I do is great, but sketching your style and practicing sketching daily is a good thing. 10, 15 minutes, an hour, but then when you can, your picture illustration, you could be on there for hours. I know that feeling, and I enjoy that when you're just working on a picture, coloring it in, drawing it in. You can spend on it for hours, having fun. It's really cool. I enjoy being an artist. All right. The bottom, a little bit here and there, a little bit darker. Yep. See, now you can see how it stands out, the contrast. You can see the shadows a little bit lighter and the actual, where the pine needle shapes, it's not the little curvature, should I say, they stand out a lot stronger now when I made it a little bit darker. And I'm just going to give some little rings. And let's get some shadowing there, a little darker. All right, that's looking good. A little really, really, really dark. There you go. I like that. And a little light on the tree bark. Good. Let's get some random grass, trees, shading underneath there. Maybe some quick little bushes in the background too. There we go. Just shade that in. Grass blades. Just to finish it off so it doesn't look floaty. That's my preference. All right. So again, I hope you enjoy this lesson. As always, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Just about done. Yep. And make sure you sign and share with your family and friends, as I always say.
Hey everyone, it's John-Marc, and I have something fun to share with you. One of my old illustration, not this, of course, it's on the other side. It is, what was that? I'll share with you in a moment. But what I want to explain with you is what this is. This is an illustration board, what I use many times growing up for if I was doing watercolors, airbrushing, acrylics on there. It's very stiff, as you can see. This illustration I did over 34 years ago. That's right, a very old lesson. I still keep it because I still show it to some of my kids in some of the lessons that I teach with folks. So if you're ready, 34-year-old picture, here you come. Now, what I did with this picture is airbrush the sky and airbrush the ocean down below, and I use marker and ink for my name on there. Well, you can see it's my name that I made into the shape of an island. Have a little castle on the top there, a little aircraft carrier, and a little F-14 flying around the background. Being creative is something I love to do. Now, this lesson is something that would be really great to do if you've never done airbrush traditionally. I loved it, loved it, loved it. I learned from 7th grade all the way through my entire life, and I still play around with airbrushing. First, what I had to do was frisket this entire board out with frisket paper. Then I took an X-Acto blade and traced all the way around my name. It wasn't even colored in, it was still just penciled. Everything was just black and white, basically, penciled like that. Then I took off the ocean part and the sky part out there so I could airbrush. So just the name is protected. So when I'm airbrushing, that's not getting affected anyway. When I'm done, then I remove the frisket and I would have the entire thing with the water and the sky totally complete, as you can see. But my name, not done. I would just take my marker and my pen and clean it up and add the little creativity to that. Now, if you were doing this traditionally versus digitally, it'd be so much quicker and easier because if you make a mistake, you can undo. With airbrushing, you can't undo. It's a challenge and something a little hard, should I say, but it's something well worth practicing. Traditionally, art, no matter what it is, watercolors, acrylic, color pencils, graphite pencils, keeping the old skills sharpened as an artist will make you a better artist. So just remember, traditional artwork is a key thing to learn all the time. Don't stop it. Just because digital is fun, but this is better. 34 years ago, I'm sorry, 34 years ago. Gotta like it.